Welcome back, Spark students. As you can see, I brought back my friend Amber Jane again. And I don't know if we mentioned this in the last module, but not only are you a galactic medicine woman, I love that you use that, by the way, but you're also an incredible author. You have a book called Plant Wisdom.
Yes, where we talk about how the plants, which also have auric fields and emanate frequencies, but how we can work with them to tap into our own inner wisdom and create mindfulness practices every day.
I love this because I am somebody who doesn't, and I don't speak to plants like you do, and so I don't fully understand like which essential oil do I use for what, and your book really breaks it down, like the most common essential oils and what to use them for. And so I'm going to link that down at the bottom of this module. However, we're not going to be talking about plant medicine today. We are going to be talking about what it means to be highly sensitive and how you can protect your energy, which I think is important for all people, even if you don't identify as highly sensitive, which maybe you can actually explain to everybody what that means.
Yeah. So highly sensitive is someone who feels a little extra sensitive in their life, who probably has been told that they're emotional or reactive. It might be someone who maybe doesn't go listen to loud music, or when they do, it's really overstimulating.
Doesn't like crowds, maybe?
Doesn't like crowds. Might be more apprehensive to meeting new people. Even like we talked about the mall, like maybe you don't shop at malls. Maybe you prefer to shop online or stay home because you're just receiving so much more information that you're aware of. That's the thing, is highly sensitives are aware that they're receiving all this information, and they might not understand why, and they might not have language around it.
This is so interesting. So I have just like processing as you're talking. Like one of my children does not like going into like movie theaters, doesn't like going into crowded spaces. Like it freaks him the heck out. Maybe all this time he's been highly sensitive and we just haven't been able to put words around it. Aha moment happening here on the Spark School set. And you actually have a really cool story about the first time you realized that you could like really pick up on other people's energies, and you were on a bus, right?
Yeah, so my mom, we did public transportation when I was younger, and I got on the bus, and all of a sudden I went from feeling really happy to feeling really sad, and like almost crying, like almost tears rolling down my face. And I realized with her, and she was very smart and aware at the time too, to identify and talk about this with me. But we figured out that there was somebody else on the bus having a total breakdown, like crying, and that I was feeling the emotions. So it's
without
a little
even
bit
seeing her.
Yeah, without even knowing her or feeling her. And so highly sensitives will often feel the emotions, and they might come up with the title of empath too. And I use both because I use both labels of empath and highly sensitive, because empaths actually can use their gifts in a way, and highly sensitives are just coming into the awareness.
Okay, so if you're watching this video and you're like, oh my gosh, I think that's me. So you might be in the highly sensitive phase, but once you kind of harness this gift, because it sounds like it can be really used as a gift.
Yes, it can.
Then you move into like the empath next level.
Yeah, you can become an empowered empath.
Okay, so maybe you could give people advice. How do they move from highly sensitive to empowered empath? Because that sounds like a really cool leap.
Yeah, so I think it really starts with understanding where the information is coming from and how you're receiving it. So if you're walking into a room and you're really feeling the energy of other people, the emotions of other people, then that's where our energy hygiene practices come into play, because you want to be embodying, and it feels better to embody yourself and recognize the information coming in. So for me, it would look like being able to feel, oh my gosh, there's someone on the bus who's really upset right now. And is there a way I can be of service? Or is that just information, like a headline flashing on the news screen for me to know about? Versus getting on the bus and being like, oh my gosh, I am now. So it's a step in self, or not self-identifying with the feelings that are happening. Because highly intuitive empaths or highly sensitives can start to feel global situations. So say there's like some trauma that happened in the world, or something negative that the nation is going through, they'll wake up in the day and be like, why is everything so heavy? Why do I feel desperate or scared or really depressed?
Wow. So that sounds like a very heavy responsibility. How do you protect yourself around taking on all of this energy if you do receive so much?
So I love using salt baths, so Epsom salt baths, where that is just cleansing the energy around me. I also, at the same time that I'm doing that, I turn on high frequency music. So that could be sound healing, that could be singing bowls, that could be the Hertz resonance music is really helpful. I also make sure that my home is in top-notch condition to feel good for me. You need a sacred space to recharge, to kind of come back to your own. And then as you come into this awareness and practice things like understanding, like when you see a big shift, right? It's always around the awareness first, is cataloging. How am I receiving information? Is it a thought? Is it an emotion pivot all of a sudden? I go from happy to feeling sad. Is it something in my body? Like I can just tell I'm not supposed to go there. My body is telling me. Might be tickling in the tummy or something like that. So all of that first step is awareness. How am I receiving the information? And then what do I want to do about it, right? So the choice is coming back to self. And so I often use my hand on my heart to be like, what am I feeling in this moment? And what am I choosing to feel in this moment? Because we often forget, as highly sensitive, is that we have a lot of power in the intention of what we want to feel.
Oh, so even if you're taking on an energy that's not making you feel, maybe not the way that you want to feel, you can shift that because we always have the choice.
Yeah. So one of the things is touching on the heart. You're kind of bringing your consciousness and your physical self back into this present package, right? It's not feeling out into other spaces. And I have a meditation on my website where you can do a calling in of all of your energy. So often, as highly sensitive, our auric fields are really expanded, and that's how we receive information. But if we come in a little bit closer and get potent, and so one of my practices that I highly recommend for you is to put your hands on your heart and start saying the high vibrational words that you want to be feeling. Joy, happy, exuberance. That's where gratitude practice can come in, because you're asking your mind and your body and your energy to focus in on what you're wanting to feeling versus feeling all the things and then feeling like a victim. Like, I don't have a choice in this situation.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so going to use this. Like, there's been times where I will feel super happy and then I'm around somebody who's really stressed out. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, where all of a sudden, even though you have nothing to be stressed about, you will start to feel like your chest tightening. You will feel that energy. And like it's been, and especially if it's somebody that you like have to be around, that you like are living with, and maybe they're going through something. So you're saying, like, when we recognize that, just the recognition is a huge thing. Huge. And then what would the second step be, like, if I'm feeling that way?
So that recognition is that moment of not self-identifying. Okay. Because if I'm saying that I am sad, right, I have less choice to say, oh, I'm feeling somebody's sadness. Relocating yourself and just saying, like, I've been at parties or social places and I'm like, I'm full, I'm done. Like, I've experienced as much of this as I possibly can, and now I'm going somewhere else. Because part of the problem is that we live in a world that isn't even acknowledging highly sensitive. So spaces like the mall and theaters, think about it, they have no energy hygiene. So how long have they been open? For 30 years? So there's 30 years of buildup of energy in that space.
Wow. So this is why every year at Spark, Amber Jane, before the conference even starts, she goes in and she like clears the energy of the room. Yeah. And because there's a lot of people that have been in there before. There's a lot of snail trails going through places like that.
So that next step is reclaiming and having a daily practice where you're really tapping into your energy. You're maintaining and creating a potent sense of self. And you can do that through all the things listed in the module.
In the actionable?
In the actionable, thank you.
Yeah.
And then realizing that this is where self-care becomes a daily part of life. You can't skip brushing your teeth or your teeth fall out. You can't skip on doing these energetic hygiene practices or your energy is just going to be frazzled and you're going to be more restricted in the things that you feel you can do and feel more uncomfortable in the world.
I love this. So as a preventative measure, you go through the list that we did in the last module with maintaining a good energy hygiene. And then as more of a reactionary, if something happens and you feel like you're taking on too much external energy, then you can do a practice as in recognizing, separating yourself, putting hands over heart, and then saying
high vibrational words.
High vibrational words.
Using music, having your tools on you. Like I always have oils and crystals somewhere. Also, even just simply taking a break, going to another room, using water, like I said, washing your wrists, or going outside and touching a plant or sitting on the ground. All of those things bring us back into that beautiful resonance that the earth has. So the earth has a hertz vibration that matches our physical body a lot. So that's why people say go out into nature so much, because we can come back to that base kind of natural neutral state of our energy bodies.
That's so beautiful. Well, this is very exciting. So in this week's actionable, you guys are going to be really going through the basic steps of recognizing during this week when you feel like you're taking on somebody else's energy, and then going through the few tips that we give you to get back into the state that you are supposed to be in, which is generating the energy within and keeping that great energy hygiene.
Yes.
Awesome. And
so important.
You guys want to hear Amber Jane's meditation, I'm going to link to her website so you guys can go on there and check it out. She is amazing. And on our next module, we're going to be talking about the chakras.
Yes.
And what they are and why you need to know about them. Until next week on Spark School, guys. Bye.